early with Porzingis, but how are you seeing him progress so far?
I haven't paid any attention. I have no idea.
What's it been like just having him around in the gym? I know he says he's talking to guys, just trying to stay involved. What's that like for an injured guy to kind of stay involved through this process?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's been around. It's important, and I know he has a good relationship with his teammates.
I know you talked about it a little bit yesterday, but your relationship with Derrick, especially becoming the head coach. First year, he's still kind of in that, bench starter role. This year, it's more been about empowering him. It feels like he's praised you a lot just in terms of how you've empowered him. How have you kind of gone about that, and how have you just kind of seen him become more confident?
Yeah, always grateful for the guys. I feel like you can't be who you are unless you have really good people around you. So I think we have a great team. The players are great. They enjoy getting better every single day, and Derrick's in that category. So I think the most important thing is just the communication and making sure you know where people stand in the organization. But the guys have been great. Derrick's been great as far as just learning to get better every day. See him here watching film, shooting after. He's just always finding ways to get better. So it's really easy to coach guys that have that type of mindset, and we just got to keep that going.
Joe, I know you're going to say you don't care about not knowing your opponent yet and all that stuff, but what is the challenge of having these extra days not knowing, and you have to work on certain things, and then once you do know on Sunday, being like, bam, here's a playbook?
I think the challenge is not overdoing it. I think you have to look at there's themes within both opponents. There's similarities in both opponents that you have to be able to execute against on both ends of the floor. And so you want to focus on the carryover regardless of who you play. And again, like we talked about in a playoff series, there's always adjustment and stuff, but it comes down to the details, the simplicity. And so more than anything else, just focusing on the simple things, having to do them at the highest amount of stress possible. And then, when it does come time knowing your opponent, then you can kind of, pick 2 or 3 things that you want to go into heading into game one. But right now we're just focusing on the themes that both opponents, the challenges that they present. They're similar, and then focus on the things that are important regardless of who you play.
Do you have like 2 scouts ready to go, and then once the final buzzer sounds, one goes away, and one's like...
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it is. Yeah. So both scout coaches preparing to be ready for Monday morning, and one gets the next couple weeks off, and the other one doesn't.
How much does that suck to be the guy who had all that work, and then you're like, oh, all right, I guess we'll save this for next
season? So that was me, the Brooklyn series, we lost in the first round. I had both Milwaukee and Miami, so I was doing a double scout until we lost, and so I know how that feels.
Back to Derrick, what allowed him to have the series he had against Miami? And do you need him to be that aggressive all the time? Was it just kind of the matchup that called for that? Like, what just stood out about the way he played?
Yeah, I think it was funny. I think game 1, game 2, I'm not remember his numbers, but I don't know if they were as good as they were in 3, 4, and 5. And I think some of that had to do with the pace that we were playing at. I think in game 1 or 2, he maybe shot 3 or 4 shots or something like that. I don't know exactly. But at the end of the day, we need all of our guys to be aggressive because, each team, each series throughout the year, they've always tried to take away certain things. And sometimes as the season progressed, you've seen teams match up with us differently, where at the beginning of the year, certain players were matched up on Derrick, and then they moved them to Drew. They even moved them to Jalen sometimes, and they moved Smalls to KP, had 5s on them. And so at the end of the day, all of our guys have to be ready and open-minded to impact the game in different ways. And I think over the course of the series, once we dictated the pace and started playing faster, that opened it up for Derrick and Drew and Peyton and Sam and those guys, because we were able to get more possessions, play faster, move the ball there. So I think the pace really helped that. And then Derrick's the kind of guy where he impacts the game differently. I mean, he can have a great game, shooting 4 shots because he has the ability to do it defensively, do it with assist. I think he had 3 or 4 corner crashes and a free throw rebound crash there. So he's not defined by just one thing, and he can impact the game in different ways.
Thank you,
All right.
sir.
Thanks.